So hello everyone here at TriNation Triathlon. I'm really excited that we've been able to get on South African triathlete and two-time Olympian who most notably took 4th place at the Rio Olympics in 2016, Richard Murray, onto a call to mainly discuss his recent 5K time trial that he did in an astonishing time of 13.37. So thanks a lot for joining me today, Richard. I really appreciate your time. Just before we get onto the 5K, how's lockdown going for you? And what are the rules in Holland at the moment?
So the lockdown, luckily I left South Africa when I did, because 2 weeks later it had complete lockdown, and they've been for about 60 odd days, they've been inside. So I've been very lucky. I came across this side, and I've got married here as well 2 months ago. So it was quite a good call to come over. Otherwise I would have missed getting married and I would have been stuck inside. So it would have been quite tough. Yeah, the rules here are, well, they call it an intelligent lockdown, if you can call it that. And I think everyone's social distancing there, everyone's keeping away from each other extremely well. A lot of people stick to the rules, which goes a long way to help things. So we're allowed to be outside, so we can go and exercise as much as we like during the day outside. So my biking and running, I've had no problem being able to get outdoors and still doing 20-hour training weeks, sometimes more. And we've luckily had a facility here where we've been able to swim as well. So we've still been able to get 4 or 5 swims in a week, which is very fortunate. And they've just opened the pools 2 weeks ago as well now, only for specific groups of athletes. Luckily, Rachel's Dutch national as well. I'm not, but so I'm a +1, so I managed to sneak my way into the 50-meter pool a few times as well, which is great.
Just moving on to mainly what got you on. In terms of this 5K, you produced 13.37. What was the reason for it? What was it? Was it to fill a gap of a lack of racing at the moment?
Yeah, so I think the thing, our coach pretty much put it in the training peaks, and then I said I was supposed to do a 5K the following week, and then my coach said, no, it's 2 weeks time. So then I said, okay, well, fine, whatever, we'll just do it. And I think before I left South Africa, I did a 5K on the track, which was also a very random, spur of the moment thing. Abu Dhabi got cancelled. I was looking for something to do. I went online. I looked, oh, cool, 5K on the track. I've never done one in my life. Let's give it a shot. So then I went into that one, and I was literally had overtrained leading up to the race quite a bit. And like 2 days before, I told the coach I had to do some 1K repeats. So I banged out a few 1K repeats like 2 days before my track meet. And I was feeling amazing. And then on the track race day, I kind of was a bit overtired when I went into it and kind of didn't get what I wanted out of it. So I was a bit upset with that. I wanted to go under 14 on the track day, and then I ran like 14:17. I think halfway through the run, I realized I was in trouble. And so then the coach kind of said to keep things moving forwards, we would do some like type of racing where we get outside the comfort zone, because, this period now, there's no racing going on. And so we're going to get a bit stale. So the coach kind of put some fun stuff in. We also went for some Strava records here. I found like all the different Strava segments, and I did like 10 Strava segments, trying to get all the KOMs in one run. So luckily the Dutch are more known for the cycling, so the KOMs aren't too hectic on the run side here, which is nice. So then that was the plan, just to literally go out and to run as hard as I could for 5Ks. What was
it like? Normally under race conditions, you're around loads of athletes. What was it like mentally, just doing it solo on your own?
It was. I mean, I don't really have much of a problem going as hard as I can on my own. I don't really need a training. Well, I wouldn't say I don't need a massive training group to push me, but I'm quite self-driven. So for me to go out and really hurt myself, I can do that. Luckily, I had Rachel's father with me as well. So he was like my pacer on the bike ahead of me, and I wanted to get good video footage. So, well, man, if I run really fast and I got no footage, it's going to be really average. So I put a GoPro on the back of the city bike, and then he rode in front of me. And there was quite a bit of in the morning. I saw there was like 20k an hour breeze, and I looked and I went, oh man, I'm going to have like a crosswind on the way out, and then on the way back, I'm going to have like a bit of a headwind. And so I thought, okay, that's going to eat my time a little bit, and it's not going to be the best, but whatever. And luckily, he managed to give me some good slip on the bike. So he was like kind of sitting in a good position a bit. So at least I didn't get the wind during the run. So that helped a little bit. And he also, he's a runner himself. So he had his running watch on as well, and he knew the pace. And so he was really good at judging the pace as well while we were running. So yeah, ended up being all right.
So you were hitting kind of 2:44 Ks pace-wise? Was that the aim? Did you have that down as what you were going to try and hit?
Yeah. So initially, what the thought was, I thought, well, if I'm in some pretty good shape, so my fitness is probably about 90% of my total fitness that I can get. So I'm pretty fit. And we didn't do a hell of a lot of speed work. Like in my video, I state that everyone's like, oh, that sounds dodgy because I haven't done any speed work. And luckily, I've got a lot of natural speed. So if I need to go out and run super fast, even when I'm kind of unfit, I can still run reasonably quick. So I think it's just a general. We did a lot of like aerobic fitness and a lot of like kind of tempo running. The last probably like 3 months or something. So we've been like training since November. We started training for the season in November last year. And so we've been training for a long time. And yeah, so yeah, that was the plan was about 2:45 at the start. So 14 minutes was the goal.
So I've seen there's been a bit of beef, so to call it, on some of the social media. There's been some people which have questioned the legitimacy of the 5K. What's your response to that, really?
Yeah, I actually kind of think it's cool in a sense. People say when there's a lot of it, when a lot of people think it's not real, then you know that you're doing the right thing. So that's apparently what I heard, number one. And there's always going to be haters. That's the thing, I first wanted to do it on a downhill. That was my first plan. I was like, I want to do it like a downhill 5K, and then I can go under 14. And then Rachel said, no, that's not going to be honest, and we've got to do like it completely flat. Yeah. And I was like, okay, cool, completely flat. And then I literally looked outside and I found like a loop that was it was like almost bang on 5K. I was like 4.9 or something. So we had to add on 100 meters. Once we had done the loop, we had to finish with 100 meters extra.
Yeah. Okay.
And so we went there the day before. We checked the watches. We went around, and then we did it online as well. You can literally pinpoint like every 50 meters or 100 meters. You can pinpoint it, and it literally came up with bang on 5. Yeah. And so we knew it was 5K, which is cool. And so even afterwards, I was wondering, I was like thinking, was it actually really 5K? Like, was that really, And it was 5K. And so he had 5K on his watch. I had 5.08 or something. So we actually ran further than 5K. And so we ran. And then so I think we ended up coming the last K. We actually progressed, and I didn't realize the last K we did like 2:37 on the last K. Mm-hmm. So we actually kind of built up the first half. I knew what I needed to run at 2.5K had to be at like 7 minutes. And we were like, I think at 2.5K, we were pretty much bang on 7 minutes or just under. And then the second we ran faster than the second 2.5K.
Yeah. So you filmed it all as well, which has gone onto your new YouTube channel. Well, I don't know if it's new, but it's you've started posting on it a bit more. Is that something that you're trying to get back up and running again to get out to your fans a bit more?
Yeah, like I always thought a YouTube channel was cool, but it like takes such a long time. And then the last few days I've been looking and I'm like, man, it takes so many hours. And like we train a lot as it is hours, and now trying to like do the filming. Like I heard Eric Lagerström tell me like how many hours the editing takes as well. And it's a real ball ache. So, it's kind of like I'm doing it more for fun. I had the YouTube channel. I started it a long time ago. Now there's a little bit more time to play around with that type of thing. And I think it's kind of cool. It's like Instagram, but maybe you can get paid one day. So it kind of has a little bit more of a interest in that regard. But I think it's kind of cool, something different. And so I hope that was the first thing when I made the video. I thought, well, I can put it on Instagram, but YouTube would be cooler.
So in terms of your racing, do you know when you're racing next? The WTS have just released something for Hamburg in September. Is that on your radar?
A little bit, yeah. It's interesting, but I can't say I 100% believe that if there's going to be a race in the next 3 months. There was some, there's probably might be a next wave of Corona. A lot of people say it might go, it might come back to a degree, so it'll go away and might come back a little bit. And so I'm kind of just looking towards staying fit. And doing some fun stuff as well. So the coach kind of gave us, like, if we want to go on the mountain bike, or we want to go swim in the lake, or we want to, do some speed or whatever, we can do that. We don't need to have a super strict structure right now, which is kind of cool. So, and I kind of thought after the run, so my father's PB for 5K was, I think it was 13:50 or 13:48 or something. So I officially beat my father's 5K record, which is pretty sweet. He wasn't very happy with that. And he's got a I think 1,500 meters of 3:47. So like I told him, I said, no, I'm going to try and break the sub. I'm going to try and go sub 4-minute mile. Is what I told my dad. And then my dad kind of said like, yeah, that's like sub 60-second laps on the track, eh? And so I said, yeah, well, okay, well, I might need to train for that one. I think the 5K was different, but a sub 4-minute mile or sub 29-minute 10K would be pretty cool to do next. So yeah, I think I'm looking towards that in the next 4 or 5 weeks, something like that.
So my final question is just in terms of the Olympics. It's obviously been delayed by a year. How did you take that? Is that a good thing or a bad thing for you?
Well, I always find that everyone is in a similar position a little bit, apart from the guys that are getting older. Then wouldn't say they're in a worse position then, because you kind of, life doesn't wait for anyone. So next year we were planning on doing some really cool, fun things, and we were kind of like, I wouldn't say we're going to look towards the end of our triathlon career as professionals, but kind of what we're going to do next. And so now that everything's been pushed out more, which is a little bit not ideal, but it is the way it is. And I think I'll still be, in my prime at 32. Then I won't be like, if I was 34 or 33, I'd be like, oh man, I'm starting to head towards, losing the speed a bit. But I've still got the speed now, which is cool. And so, for me, it's fine. Another year of, well, this is like just a waiting year, more or less. And we've got to kind of do with it whatever we can. And so, so I think for next, I always just find that, there's a lot of people worse off than in my situation. In South Africa, there's like people dying of starvation, like in the hundreds. And, you always got to always look at, how fortunate you are and what you've got instead of, your own situation.
Well, thank you very much for your time today, Richard. I really appreciate it.
Cool, 100%. Thank you. Cheers, man.